Thank you, Philip, for that lovely introduction. I really so appreciate it. I'm looking so forward to sharing with everyone Sailing the World's Rivers with AmaWaterways. This evening, I'm going to take you through a lovely journey, have you understand what river cruising is about, talk about our company a little bit, then walk you through our world, wrap you in the experience of river cruising. You know, for those of you that might have only done ocean cruises before and not taken a river cruise, just let me make a really wonderful fine point here. You know, oceans take you to countries, but rivers take you through them. This is a great picture here that shows you that 24 hours a day for this lovely cruise that you're going to be on for 7 days, every moment is going to be another wonderful thing for you to see. Every bend in the river is another castle, another vineyard, another fairy tale hotel. What we're going to do, and a fairy tale town, incidentally, what you have here is you are totally immersed in the people, the culture, the food, the libation, the culture, the language. You get to have so many wonderful opportunities for you to absolutely be ensconced in the area that you're in. With AmaWaterways, just let me tell you a little bit about us. We were founded in 2002, and we are a family-owned company. We are owned by Rudy Schreiner, Christine Karst, and Gary Murphy, and they are people that have been on the rivers for a very long time. Rudy is actually Austrian, and his wife Christine is who is my boss, who is in the sales and marketing end, is German. The thing that's magic about Rudy is he really is the godfather of river cruising. He has been on the rivers for 30 years. He was born in Vienna on the Danube and is also the architect of our vessels. And in that way, there's some special things about AmaWaterways that I'll share with you that are really delightful with our company. And again, we were founded in 2002, and by next year, we will have 25 ships sailing in the world. You know, every day on a river cruise ship is a sea day, not just a sea day, an ocean sea day. You can see from this picture, people are enjoying just sitting on the top deck, watching the wonderful scenery go by. And if you had any worries about seasickness, that is not something that you're going to experience on a river cruise. You know, we're not skiing behind these wonderful vessels, and it is just the smoothest, most delightful ride you could imagine. So every day is a sea day. And you know, we dock in the middle of town. It is a seamless embarkation and disembarkation. We dock our ships very close to the center of city centers. So simply when we stop, and these are five-star floating hotels, just docked right there, as you can see in Passau, you simply walk off. If you want to take off and do your own thing, you can certainly do that. Or you can participate in one of the many tours that we offer as we stop along the rivers. The ship is going to stop actually twice a day. And during those stops, we are going to have a variety of complimentary tours for you to take advantage of. AmaWaterways is a very inclusive product. And what I will tell you today, unless I tell you it is an extra cost, it is included in the cost of your cruise. You have a 7-night or a 10 or an 11-night or 14-night cruise on us. And then we do have land programs that we offer you both pre and post cruise. Those pre and post land programs do come at an extra cost. But what is so wonderful about them is they are entirely escorted by AmaWaterways. So you will have someone with you from the moment you come into the country till the moment that you leave. Just to talk about for a moment some of the safety protocols that have been put into place because we're in a pandemic time at the moment. And we are actually sailing with one of our vessels on the Danube River with a German tour operator that is able to take German and Swiss guests. So what we're able to do is put these safety protocols in place right now when nobody else is sailing. And actually they're working out very, very well. Of course, you can see we have the face coverings for our staff by all means, and they will be wearing those consistently. You as a guest on board, while these protocols are in place, and these incidentally are mandated by the European Union in Europe, which is where we are sailing most of our cruises. So you would wear your mask when you are in areas of the ship where social distancing may not be possible. So certainly in your cabin, absolutely not. Most of our cabins, about 82% of our cabins are balconied, so the fresh air is there for you to enjoy. And also we have the whole top deck, which is our sky deck. And that has lovely opportunities for you to be in the pool or just enjoy yourself with all of the different seating areas and watch the wonderful scenery go by. So you would wear your face covering when you walked out of your cabin, came through reception, where we do have plexiglass there for receptionists, and come into the lounge area. The lounge area is the largest room on a river cruise ship. And so we have taken some of the furniture out. So we do have social distancing, and we have put up plexiglass, clear plexiglass, of course, dividers between our seating areas. When you come in, you would find yourself where you would like to sit and be able to take your mask off because there's social distancing and, of course, the plexiglass dividers. That also would be the same in the dining room. When you come down, we will have you seated. And of course, we have a maitre d', of course. So you will be seated and you will be able to take your mask off and have an absolutely lovely, lovely dinner. I wanted to make a note because we have a little emoji here for clean air. And Rudy Schreiner, in building our ships, has designed them with a fan coil individual air, cooling, and heating units throughout the vessel, in your cabins and in all the public areas, which eliminate any recirculation of air in the staterooms or in the public areas. So it's not like we have air conditioning that just keeps, recirculating. All the air that is brought into the ship is fresh, and virtually that's how it works. So it is delightful. We're really very proud of that. With our shore excursions, our groups are small. We have always had small groups of 20 to 25. Now we're doing 10 to 15. You do have a headset system where you're able to hear your guide from 150 feet away. So social distancing while these protocols are in place is simply not a problem. Award-winning ships, we have a very interesting configuration with our cabins. Rudy has created a cabin like no other cruise ship, no other river cruise ship, and that is we have twin balcony staterooms. These staterooms have a French balcony where you see the orange chair there. You would walk to the door, open it, but you don't step out. And yet we also have a proper walkout seated balcony, as you can see on the left, which is absolutely delightful, wonderful to watch people go by, the scenery go by, wave to people, because we are in the river. People are walking on the pathways and biking and hiking and having a great time and are quite friendly, you'll find. So cheers to them while you are sailing down the river. Also, we have instituted a room service menu from the main dining restaurant, which would be served at breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you would like to partake in that instead of going down to the dining room. You will note that the beds come in the big bed or twin for you, so you can have that configuration. And there is an Apple computer in every cabin for you to be able to enjoy the internet complimentary 24/7 from the privacy of your cabin. Now, of course, the ships are entirely Wi-Fi as well. And a fun little fact here, we pay more money for bandwidth for Wi-Fi than we do for fuel. I wanted to introduce you to a ship. As I said, Rudy is very innovative in his building of our vessels. This is a one-of-a-kind vessel for all of river cruising. He designed Magna to be an ultra luxury vessel. And the difference in her is that instead of being 38 feet wide, She is 72 feet wide. So her width is double, if you will, of every other river cruise ship. What that allows us is to create a vessel that has extremely spacious cabins. She actually is half suites, with the suites going anywhere from 355 square feet to 710 square feet, as you would have in much larger, maybe ocean-going vessels. A fabulous Zen wellness center, which you can see here in the back. She, of course, has all of our amenities, 4 different dining restaurants, and is just a really absolutely fantastic vessel. She does live on the Danube River, the upper and lower Danube. She isn't able to get on the Rhine because she's a little bit too wide in the hips, as we like to say. Also, we are very sustainable. Ruby is creating wonderful ships that are green. And we have been awarded with 15 of our ships the Green Award by the European Union. It really means that we've minimized our carbon footprint. We are fuel efficient. We have microfiltration on board for cycling, LED lighting, insulated windows. And the other really wonderful thing about it is that when we pull up into a port, we're able to virtually just plug in to the grid, if you will, which is really, really safe and also extremely clean. And that actually gives us a priority for the best docking places. So it's quite nice to be able to sail with us on AmaWaterways. We have an amazing staff on board AmaWaterways. Our staff are absolutely incredible. They get the number 1 and highest ratings of our customers' comment cards. The most often said thing is that they made me feel like family. And we are, again, a family-owned company, and we're very proud of that. They are European. They are from Eastern Europe, from Romania, from Bulgaria, from Hungary. Mostly English is the language spoken on AmaWaterways. So they are all certainly fluent in English, and they really do sparkle. They will make your cruise astounding. Their whole job is to make you want to come back to the family of AmaWaterways. Our small group excursions, as I had said before, are absolutely wonderful. You're going to be able to choose anywhere from 4 to 5, even sometimes 6 different types of tours as you go. We operate in small groups, and we also have different levels of activity. We have gentle walkers for people that might need a little more time. We have regular walkers. We have active walkers. And there is a little difference. Some people like to zoom, and others like to kind of just stroll along. We even have late risers for those that would like to have one more mimosa in the dining room. That's great fun. And we have local guides, and the local guides are so very special because their town is the best town, and they're going to tell you why. They may have been there, their families, for frankly 200 or 300 years, and they're going to give you the highlights and really wrap you in the experience of where you are. So it's just a great deal of fun. We also feel that we are active. The average age across AmaWaterways is 56. And for those that want to, keep up with a healthy lifestyle is great. We have 25 bikes on board. And the bikes are put out when we stop. If you'd like to take a bike, take off on your own, do your own thing, great, you're certainly able to do that. The bikes, incidentally, are ours. They are not a concession. We have them on board. We do fit you to a bike, and we do maintain our bikes. So it's great fun, but we also have guided biking tours. Maybe there's going to be a wonderful tour down the Rhine or down the Danube, showing you wonderful things while people are doing walking tours or whatever. So we have that, guided biking tours and guided hiking tours. The special interest tours that we have are going to be more culinary oriented, because AmaWaterways is very, very foodie. Foodie whiny, I like to say. And my absolute total favorite for me was truffle hunting with a dog in France. So lovely, really wonderful, fun things for people that are into food and wine. We also have a wellness instructor on board. This is a complimentary program, of course, where he or she are doing 2 to 3 classes a day. Maybe you'd like to start out with a stretch class in the morning before you go on your tours. When you come back, gosh, maybe he's going to be doing some cardio, or maybe the band stretching. They are certified in yoga, and we do yoga classes and even on occasion, champagne yoga. Now that's a really fun one. And that's actually where you hold a glass of champagne while you're doing the movements. I can tell you it's not easy to do, but a great deal of fun. And so do participate in our champagne yoga. As I said, AmaWaterways is very much into food. No one spends more money on food and wine than we do. We have the wonderful designation of La Chaîne de Rotation. Rudy was inducted into the Chaîne, which you must be, and all of our ships are designated Chaîne. Only the freshest, locally sourced ingredients are we working with as we move up and down the rivers. We have no frozen seafood anywhere on AmaWaterways, anywhere in the world that we're sailing. And we are wonderfully bringing you into the taste and the wines of the food to the countries that you are traveling in. So food is absolutely a delight with AmaWaterways. And we do have, of course, our main dining restaurant, by all means, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. During the COVID time, it is entirely, of course, we always have menu service by all means, but everything is going to be served to you. There are no buffets and so forth. But we have a chef's table as well. And the chef's table in pre-COVID times only holds 28 guests. We'll do fewer for the period of time that we need to do that. But you simply make a reservation. There is no upcharge, of course, and you are in a real chef's table. You are going to be tasting 12 to 14 different tastes with all of the paired wines. So really delightful for you to be able to enjoy that. And of course, our libation policy is that we are offering start you out actually in the morning with champagne or sparkling wine, depending on the world where we are. Then we are serving fine wines, beers, and soft drinks that are very freely poured, and we change our wine every day. You are able to sample so many wonderful wines that go with the food that we're serving along the way. And we have a sip and sail cocktail hour, an hour before dinner, where people are up in the lounge and everybody's talking about their wonderful day they had and can have a lovely cocktail. And it, of course, includes spirits, so a nice place to have sip and sail. So where do we go on these wonderful cruises? I wanted to put the map up because I think it really gives a wonderful opportunity for you to look at all of Europe. And all of the blue lines that you see here are where we're traveling. So just to give you kind of a couple points of interest and to give you an idea of how much there is to see. If you were to start in the North Sea, where you have Amsterdam and the Netherlands, and you follow this blue line, which is the Rhine River. And the Rhine River actually comes into the Main River. So you have the Rhine Main along here. And then you see this little hook. And this little hook here is called the Main Danube Canal. And before that was built in the mid-1990s, that is where the Rhine Main stopped. If you had wanted to continue and get on the Danube, which now the Main Danube Canal allows you to do, you could virtually continue your trip on the Danube through the rest of Europe to the Black Sea. We actually do stop because we're flat bottom boats and we don't do oceans and we don't do lakes. We do stop here in Bulgaria and Romania, but this is the Black Sea. If you were to do that, you would have traveled 3,000 kilometers through 10 countries. We are also delighted to have 3 wonderful rivers in France. We have the Seine, we have the Rhone and the Saône River, and we are in Bordeaux. And then we also are in Portugal on the Douro River, a wonderful special river. And I'm going to talk about all of these in my presentation. We do, incidentally, have an exotic products. We are in Africa on the Chobe River with the Zambezi Queen, and then you would choose safari after your cruise. And we are in Vietnam and Cambodia on the Mekong River, a very, very special cruise, one of my favorites. And new, so we don't even have a square here for it, is Egypt on the Nile. And that product is going to be brought online September of 2021. So where do we go and what will you see? First, a couple of theme cruises. Celebration of Wine. AmaWaterways does 60 wine cruises a year on the European rivers. We are so lovely into food and wine. These are so much fun. If you are a person that loves wine and would like to learn more about wine and taste the wonderful wines on the cruise that you're sailing on, Ama is for you. We are doing them in the areas here. Here is the wine map. And we are in Provence on the Rhone here, where we are doing Lyon to Arles. This is the most highly sold of our river cruises because you're in the upper and lower Côte du Rhône. We're in Bordeaux. Of course, some of the finest vineyards in the world are in Bordeaux, and we have a wonderful, wonderful cruise here. We are on the Seine River. Now, this is Paris down to Normandy beaches and back, and it's going to be a little bit more about a brandy called Calvados and a cider. They're very cider people in Brittany and Normandy, and of course, some champagne sprinkled in. We are on the Danube River, where you have wonderful, from Budapest all the way up to Prague, if you will. Even though Prague's not on the river, we will get you there. And those have wonderful red wines and white wines, and some very special ones that are only grown in very small areas up on the Wachau. We are on the Rhine, Main, and the Moselle River. These are absolutely spectacular areas. The Moselle, coming here, actually has the steepest vineyards in all of Europe. They are doing magnificent white wines here, wonderful Rieslings that are both dry, very dry, and sweet as well. And some occasional beers along the way, which is really great, but a beautiful, beautiful river here. And then we are in the Douro, which you have lovely, of course, you have port, and you have some wonderful Vino Verdes, both red and white wines. Their wines are a little younger, but they're fresh and they're delightful with the food and the seafood that they're serving in that area. With our wine cruises, incidentally, there is a vetted vintner that is on board. We have chosen from North America. We help them bring their wines on board, and you will have tastings, lectures. They will host the Shen dinner. We will also be having shore excursions that are going to be a little more winey. We're going to be going out to vineyards, drinking within the grapes in some occasions, some beautiful, beautiful chateaus and places to be able to have a glass of wine and to wine cavs as well. The other theme for us, actually, where we do many cruises in the winter, and that is Christmas markets. Christmas markets are magic. You know, the Europeans do celebrate Christmas a little differently than we do in North America. It just has a different cultural feeling to it. And particularly along the Rhine and the Danube, there are magnificent Christmas markets. This is a picture of Vienna, and Vienna actually has, last count, 23 Christmas markets. If you can imagine, this picture is of the Rathaus, which is the town hall, if you will, of Vienna. Has an absolutely beautiful market. When I was there last year, not only for the beautiful things that you buy, of course, which they're mandating in these countries that the handicrafts that you buy, the beautiful ornaments and the handcrafted things are made in the country of where you are. So that makes it really great. So there's lovely things for you to see here, but it's also about the food. All of these cities and towns and villages, because every little town with their town square will have a market. And you're going to be visiting the big ones and the little small fairy tale towns as well on these cruises. But the other thing that makes Christmas markets is Glühwein. And Glühwein is hot mulled wine. It comes red and it comes white and has all the aromatic spices in it. And I tell you to get a mug of that and walk through the Christmas markets, buy your lovely things, have something to eat is absolutely magic. And every time on every little place that you go to buy a mug of Glühwein has its own cup, which you can keep, and it makes it great fun. And you know what? You don't care how cold it is. You just feel really warm in your tummy. So it's great fun. All right, so we start out our season. River cruising for everyone in the industry starts the end of March through Christmas, New Year's. And we kick off in Amsterdam at tulip time. It is a round trip Amsterdam. It's going to take you in the Netherlands and Belgian waterways, and it's all about the flowers. I think this is one of my favorite little pictures with our little boy in wooden shoes and beautiful tulips. And that's what this cruise is about. It is cruising through these wonderful places. You're looking at the dikes, you're looking at the fields of flowers. We're taking you to flower markets. We're taking you to wonderful towns to taste their cheeses and look at their windmills and just get into all things Dutch and Belgium. So it's a great deal of fun, but do know it is only 6 weeks long. So it is the first, as I said, the end of March till the 1st of May. And we have, however, created a cruise that will take you starting in 2021, virtually doing a lot of this, but it will start in May and run through October. And it is not just about flowers, but it's also about more of Belgium, taking you to Bruges and some other lovely, lovely towns in those areas. So it is all things Dutch and Belgium. The Rhine River. The Rhine River, between the Rhine and the Danube, those are the two main rivers where you will actually see several countries on a 7-night cruise, certainly in different parts of Europe, but they are absolutely wonderful. They have the most, if you will, traffic on them, and I want to walk you through that. On the Rhine, because there is a little difference in the feel. When somebody says, well, should I do the Rhine or the Danube? Let me give you my thoughts. On this, I'm going to talk about the one that we do the most of, which is Amsterdam to Basel in Switzerland, or the return. So you would have a Dutch experience, all things Dutch, with wooden shoes, with the wonderful buildings. It's an absolutely fantastic city where you would have a couple of nights, if you would like, to be able to enjoy Amsterdam. We are then going to come down the Rhine into Germany. So you've had a Dutch experience. Now you're going to have some German ones. The German experience in Cologne with a fantastic cathedral. It's an absolutely wonderful walk city. We are in the center of town. We have wonderful bike tours here as well. And you would be able to enjoy and get into German with some of their wonderful beers and their fabulous, fabulous food. We do a Kroch beer tasting, and Kroch is only made in Cologne. It's a wonderful place to go into a tavern, and they serve it with a potato pancake and applesauce. May sound weird. It's great with a beer. You have to try it. We're also going to be showing you Heidelberg as well, but we're coming down the river, and this bottom picture is the Rhine Gorge. Now, if you are a castle person, if this is why you want to come to Europe, then you want to get on the Rhine, particularly these itineraries. The Rhine Gorge is a piece of the river that's probably, I'm going to say, we do a commentary about the castles that are along this area for about 2 hours, actually, coming down the river. And there are like 43 to 45 castles that you're going to hear about. Our cruise manager is going to do a lovely commentary. Some of them are hotels, some of them are privately owned, actually, and some are ruins. We're not stopping along the way, but you're going to see the most darling fairy tale towns below the castles, because of course the castles are always on the hill, and it's a wonderful, wonderful stretch of the river. We're then coming to France, and my top picture here on the right looks like Germany, doesn't it? But it is France. This is Strasbourg. Strasbourg is the home of the European Union, and it is an absolutely beautiful town that really sits right on the border. They speak a French and German patois, which is quite interesting because it went back and forth for hundreds of years, back and forth and back and forth. It has now been France for a long time, and it is in Alsace. So you're now going to be able to start to get into these fabulous Riesling wines. And again, not all of them are sweet. This is on the Alsatian wine route. Then you would come into Basel in Switzerland. And the land program after that is absolutely lovely. You would have 2 nights in Lucerne and then 2 nights in Zurich. The Danube. Here you're going to have a different flavor here. I'm going to do the one that we do the most of, which would be Budapest up to, we use the town of Vilshofen, but most people say, I want to go Budapest to Prague. Prague isn't on the river, but it is the land program. So you would start in Hungary, have the most wonderful opportunity. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous city. And you're going to have the cultural delights and certainly food delights of paprika and palinka, which is their schnapps, wonderful goulash. We do a goulash cooking demonstration, have a great lot of fun in Hungary. We're then going to come up the river to Vienna. Vienna, this world-class city where you're going to be able to have not only biking tours and hiking tours, but a wonderful city tour if you've never been before, which is going to be by motor coach on the Ringstrasse for you to see some of the magnificent buildings and the Opera House and the Habsburg Palace and so forth, but also a walking tour in the Graben, which is in the center of the whole shopping museum a la area. So you'll have an absolutely lovely day. And if you would like, you can take a half-day tour out to Schönbrunn Palace, which is the Habsburgs' summer home. And as you can see, this is the gardens of Schönbrunn from behind. Now I have, again, another beautiful stretch in the Danube River, which is going to, it's called the Wachau. And the Wachau Valley doesn't have maybe as many castles, but it is like sailing through the Black Forest with the most absolutely beautiful little towns along the way, lovely, lovely vineyards that make some very special wines, and also millions of apricot trees. So in the spring, it is absolutely lovely. Those mountains look as if they have snow on them, and it's all of the blossoms from the apricot trees. And it's going to bring us to the Benedictine Monastery at Melk. So this particular is a shore excursion you should never miss. It is way up on the hill in the middle of this Wachau Valley in this lovely forested area. And it has been a monastery that is a working one for 960 years. You will come in and see the museum. It is a school, incidentally, as well. I mean, it's for the local kids that are around. Has a fabulous, fabulous library. And then the piece de resistance is the church. And the church, I would say to you, if you have been to St. Peter's in Rome, has more gold in it than St. Peter's. Further coming up the river, we're going to come to Passau. And Passau is a beautiful, beautiful town where most of my competitors actually turn around and go back to the other direction, so it is a Budapest to Passau to Budapest. We're going to go a little further up to a town called Vilshofen, where we're the only river cruise in town. Rudy knows the mayor, and they do an Oktoberfest for our guests for our entire season. And it is absolutely so much fun. It is a gorgeous white tent off of the ship. It is all about the wines and the beers and the umpapa and the pretzels. And we absolutely have the most wonderful fun time having our own Oktoberfest. So that's kind of cool. Then the land program that you would do can either be 3 nights in Prague in the Czech Republic, which is a spectacular, spectacular town, or Munich. You can go to Munich as well, and it has a whole different feeling, obviously, than does the Czech Republic. So those things are available to you. The Black Sea voyage is going to take you from Budapest, which this lovely picture gives you the Parliament House, and the ship is going to go south down almost to the Black Sea. So this is the old communist bloc. This is an absolutely wonderful cruise for historians, for historical significance. The Romans, the Ottomans, it has a very, very incredible history. We do go through the Iron Gates, which you can see on my low picture here, which is a very, very narrow part of the river. On one side is Romania, and on the other side, oh, I need to think about that. Oh, sorry about that, but we do come through. It would be Romania, maybe it's Croatia. I have done it. I found it absolutely amazing. We have a land program where you could, when you come in to Romania, we are doing 2 nights in Bucharest. We are doing 2 nights out in their Carpathian Mountains, where you have in Transylvania. So we will visit Vlad Castle, which is Dracula's castle. We'll visit Pelish Castle, which was the king's summer home. Beautiful, beautiful in the mountains, lovely. And then you, let's see, it's 2, 4, yeah, those are your nights. Or if you want to do something very, very exotic, we will take you from Romania to Istanbul. And you will have 3 absolutely spectacular days in Istanbul, seeing, of course, Hagia Sophia and the wonderful sights within that magnificent city that is both Eastern and Asian. For Paris and Normandy, this is a wonderful cruise. We do dock in the center of Paris, which is great. It's a 15-minute walk to the Eiffel Tower. Yes, it is about the Normandy beaches, by all means, and we spend an entire day there. We split our group. We ask our guests if you want to go to American beaches, cemeteries, and museums, or maybe you're British or Australian family or Canadian. And if so, we will take you to those sites as well. But yes, it's about the Normandy beaches and Normandy, but it's also very art-oriented. This Giverny, of course, we're going to be visiting out of Vernon. And it is about, the cradle of the Impressionist movement. When you go to Monet's home and his gardens, it just gives you a start. We do wonderful artist walks on this trip. When you go into Rouen and you stand in front of the major cathedral, Monet did 10 or 12 different paintings of that cathedral in different light, and you are standing in the painting. It's really quite something for you to be able to experience. With Colors of Provence, we are doing a wonderful cruise in the upper and lower Côte d'Aron area. This is our most popular wine cruise. And what it's going to offer you is 2 nights in Paris, Paris. We're going to put you on the fast train coming down to Lyon. And from Lyon, we're going to be traveling in the upper Côte d'Aron area. Coming further south, we will then come into Provence. And the food changes a bit, and you get more towns that were on the Roman road. Places like Vienne that have absolutely fantastic Roman ruins. Gee, you think you're in Italy instead of in France. Lovely, amazing sites there. You will, of course, go to Avignon with the Palace of the Popes. And when you're in Arles, they actually have 2 unbelievable Roman amphitheaters, much less where Van Gogh painted Starry Nights. So it is a magnificent cruise. And Bordeaux, what can I say? Bordeaux is all about wine, the finest wines in the world. So whether you are on one of our wine cruises or not, I must say it is a lot about wine. We're visiting some beautiful, beautiful towns and markets, and of course, fabulous vineyards. We're right in the center of town. It is a beautiful walk town, and it does have a world-class, relatively new museum called the Cité de Vin, which is absolutely magnificent. The bikes are used a lot on this itinerary because the towns are quite close. We are on the Garonne and Dordogne rivers with the estuary coming in from the sea. Not that we go too far out that direction, but it's just absolutely a spectacular, spectacular cruise, particularly if you happen to be into wine. And then the Douro. The Douro is so lovely, a little different. You know, if you've been to Spain before, Spain can be quite lively. And the Portuguese are this lovely, lovely people that are just not frenetic. You know, they don't have a cell phone plastered to their head. They just are these absolutely lovely people with this beautiful river that takes a much smaller ship. Our ship only carries 102 guests. I have two of the ships, and we are coming up this very fast moving river that's very windy. So that's why it takes a smaller vessel. And it's about the beautiful, beautiful wine vineyards that are up. We take you up into the mountains, up into the quintas. The quintas are their wine chateaus, if you will. We have some lovely lunches. We have some beautiful things in the olive fields. It's just wonderful. And yes, it's about port by all means. We will have a whole um, uh, indoctrination into port with finding out that whether it's tawny or it's new or it's whatever. And I don't know if you knew, but there is white port as well as the reds, the rubies, the tawnies, and whatever. And it's absolutely delightful. So when you do think about taking this lovely cruise, you're going to see places like Porto here. The land program is 3 nights in Lisbon before we bring you to Porto and have your 7-night cruise back to Porto. Or we have a cruise that is going to start you in Spain, in Madrid. You will have 3 nights. You will have Madrid. We're going to take you to Toledo, through Salamanca as we bring you to the ship at Vega Tejon, where actually the Douro on the Spanish-Portuguese border, that's where you would start your cruise, because actually the Douro doesn't come is not navigable any further into Spain. And it would be a one-way Porto. And if you'd like to do Lisbon after, you could do that. The exotic product of Vietnam and Cambodia and the Mekong. I spent 17 years traveling Asia. It is a very, very favorite of mine. The thing that's so magic about it is that watching people and how they live on a river in Asia is just so incredibly interesting. Whether they are doing agriculture, which this lady may be doing with the wonderful lotuses and so flush the blossoms, you will see everything along the river. We're going to be doing wonderful temples we're seeing. The land program is quite magnificent as well. You can start coming from north to south. We'll be in Hanoi for 2 nights. We will take you to Halong Bay, where you will have an overnight on a very, very luxurious vessel that is in Halong Bay, probably the most beautiful piece of water I've ever sailed on. It has thousands of limestone escarpments, which we do go into some of the caves and do visit. It's like you're sailing through a Chinese painting, is what it's like. From there, we're going to fly you to Siem Reap. And Siem Reap, you will have 3 nights seeing the monuments of Angkor, the temples of Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom, Bantre Sri, absolutely spectacular sightseeing. You will pick up your ship outside of Siem Reap and have a 7-night cruise through Cambodia into Vietnam. You will cross over into Vietnam to the port of Mai To, which is Saigon. And then you would have 2 nights in Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City, as they call it in the north. Wonderful exotic cruising. Africa. Africa is magic, a very, very niche product for us in the fact that it will be not only a little cruise with some land and then safari. This is your boat. The Zambezi Queen only has 28 guests, so there are 14 cabins on this wonderful, kind of like a houseboat, isn't it? It sits on the Chobe River, which is up between Namibia, Botswana, and a little bit of Zambia. And what this really is, I call a 4-night float through the animals. Because what does a river do? The river brings the animals to you. Everybody needs a drink, right? So you will see wonderful game. In Botswana, the Chobe is the largest concentration of elephants in Africa in the Chobe National Park. We have you on this vessel and put you in smaller conveyance boats for you to be able to get closer to the hippos and the game. And we'll have you off doing other things on land. After your 4-night float through the animals, we're going to take you off the ship to Victoria Falls. So you will have all things Vic Falls. It is absolutely beautiful. We stay in a magnificent Victoria Falls hotel, and it is a trip of a lifetime to see all of the water and the foliage and the things that are around Victoria Falls. It's really quite spectacular. Before you would have left, Philip would have been talking to you, of course, about, well, that's only 6 nights out of your life. Now, what safari would you like to take? We do offer a safari that would give you 3 nights in Kruger National Park, all things with the game drives, everything is included, including your laundry and so forth, which is really fantastic. Or maybe you'd like to take from Victoria Falls a magnificent rail journey. And this is on Rovis Rail. It's a magnificent train, similar to the Venice Simplon Orient Express. As far as her elegance is concerned, you dress for dinner. It's quite fabulous. And it's going to take you from Victoria Falls to Pretoria. It is a 3-night, 1,000-mile rail journey safari. And at night, we side the train so it's not moving, which makes it quite comfortable. Or maybe you would like to take our long journey, and that's going to be a 7-night full safari in Tanzania. You will experience, of course, Ngorongoro Crater, Lake Manyara, Tanyangiri in the treetops. We have you staying in tree houses, and Arusha, this wonderful coffee plantation. It's absolutely super. If you're there, we'll show you the Serengeti as well with all of the game, and you can choose to go during the migration, and that might be incredibly exciting to say the least, with truly millions of animals. And the piece de resistance with our Africa program, if you would like, is a 4-night trip where you are gorilla trekking in Rwanda. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the last of our exotic product is going to be our Secrets of Egypt and the Nile. We are building our beautiful Amadalia vessel, who is just absolutely beautiful. She is only going to carry 68 guests, so it is 68 guests, 34 cabins. She is half suites in her cabins, which run from 430 square feet all the way up to, she is so new, I can't remember, but wonderful suites for you to be able to enjoy. All the things I've talked about with Ama, except the bikes, will be incorporated into this vessel. It's a very inclusive product. It would start with your 4 nights land program included in the cost of the cruise in Cairo. We're staying at the Four Seasons, and you will have wonderful shore excursions. You will have wonderful excursions to all of the highlights, from the National Museum to out to Giza and so forth. So really, really fantastic. We will then fly you to Luxor, and you will have a 7-night Luxor round trip, Luxor to Aswan, to Luxor cruise. And then we're going to bring you one more night into Cairo before you leave the next morning, because the flights leave really, really early. So we wanted to have you have a nice hotel stay. And she has 2 pre-cruise options. The pre-cruise options, which would be at extra cost, is 3 nights in Dubai. We also have 4 nights in Jordan. 2 nights of those are going to be in Amman and in Petra. And the post-cruise is going to be Israel. And in Israel, you will have 2 nights in Jerusalem, 2 nights in Tel Aviv, and we're going to take you for a dip in the Dead Sea. So we are so excited about this program. It does start next September in 21, and she is already about 78% sold. So we're quite excited about Egypt. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip belongs to an amazing consortia. It is really the finest travel agencies in the world. It is a smallish group of travel professionals that deal in the luxury end of the market. It is called Virtuoso. It is a very, very important part of the agent community that we at AmaWaterways work with. And as I told you, Philip and I are actually partners. I don't call on the travel agencies. I don't call on the public direct. So Philip is my partner and you are his client. He is able to offer through AmaWaterways up to a $300 onboard credit per stateroom on 60 departures in Europe and in Asia. Just to mention a couple of programs, we are offering in 2021 a fly free to Europe if you make the bookings by December 31st of 2020. So this year, we're offering on some cruises free economy air, round trip air. We're also offering free economy companion air, some cruises, or an upgrade to business class. And our business class is $29.99. It's quite a fabulous business class fare. And if you are a solo traveler, AmaWaterways would love to have you travel with us. We really so enjoy having our single travelers, and our single supplement is only 125%, which means it's 25% more than the double fare. Most of my competitors are 150 to 200%. So we're really very, very delighted to offer this to you. You will have a lovely exclusive welcome reception to meet other singles, dinner with the captain, and our cruise manager is going to help you plan your shore excursions, as you may want to do that by yourself, or you're going to meet a lot of wonderful people. But it's lovely to be able to have someone spend time with you when you are making your own decision. So we are delighted to have you as a single traveler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the rivers and the wine continue to flow. It has been my great pleasure to wrap you in the experience of AmaWaterways. I so look forward to having you on board and experiencing this wonderful product through the wonderful rivers of the world with Ama. Thank you so very much for having me.